to Newsmax, and its audience grew 50% since the same time last year. Millions really are making the switch to Newsmax. If you want to be a Newsmax share owner, call your advisor or get more info at newsmaxinvest.com. Stand with Newsmax today for a strong America. This communication is for informational purposes only and shall not be intended to or shall not constitute any offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such offer, solicitation, or sale would be unlawful.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Stocks closed mixed at the end of an unusually quiet week. The S&P 500 slipped 0.1% and wound up with a loss of 0.5% for the week. The Dow fell 0.3%, and the NASDAQ composite was little changed. The relatively calm movements offered a respite after stocks whipsawed for weeks on fears about President Trump's trade war and then on hopes that he'll relent on some of his tariffs. Treasury yields and other financial markets also held relatively steady ahead of a highly anticipated meeting on Saturday between China and the United States. They'll be talking trade. The Dow was down 119 points to close at 41,249. The NASDAQ gained 1 point to 17,928. The S&P 500 dropped 4 points to 5659. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Overnight showers are possible tonight, a low temperature dipping to 59. Tomorrow, look for a 40% chance we get some on and off rain to go with a much cooler high temperature of 70. For Mother's Day on Sunday, a high of 72. It's a wet afternoon. Rain chance is better than 60%. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Please press button now. No, that number's bigger than the one I said.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk, Sports Talk Media Network on a Friday night rolling into the weekend. Great to have you with us. Hope you had a wonderful day today, whatever it is that you were doing. We certainly did. Glad to be with you once again from our coastal studios, back at our studios in downtown Columbia. Let's see. We have the plumber, Josh Cohen, and we have the body, Jesse Johnston. Our phone number, 888-898-2525. If you want to jump on board tonight on a Friday night to get something off your chest, that's the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you to catch us here on Sports Talk. You can also shoot us a text message as well. That number, 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. Matt Smith will join us here momentarily from the Myrtle Beach Classic, where day 2 is practically in the books, and got a little bit of a dilemma for the Gamecocks standout. A good situation to be in for Nathan Franks. He makes the cut at 5 under par. That's great. That means he's going to play the weekend. However, his team is in Seattle, Washington, or suburbs. They have an 8:30 tee time on Monday morning to open the NCAA tournament. That's West Coast time, 8:30. So somehow he's got to get from here to there and get some rest and get prepared to play in that tournament, having not practiced on that course. His team is out there. His coach is out there. His coach will join us, Rob Bradley, tonight on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps with George Bryan to talk about that regional and this situation. he is working on plans, of course, to get Franks to the West Coast as quickly as possible. But what a showing for the young man making his PGA debut. He's not a PGA pro, still an amateur, but what a debut for him in Myrtle Beach. 67 and 70 puts him in a tie for 23rd at 5 under par. We'll go over the leaderboard and all that with Smitty coming up. Other big news today, of course, we got baseball. College baseball sort of reaching the regular season climax. Still have one more weekend to go of the regular season, but a lot of great matchups around the SEC and the ACC. Clemson and Duke will be getting underway right about now. South Carolina and Auburn have already played today, and what a ball game it was. After the Gamecocks were just, I don't know how to word what happened to them last night. It was just another absolute beatdown where they had nothing to contend with against Auburn last night. Pitching-wise in particular, just another complete meltdown by the pitching. And, of course, the hitting wasn't there either. And they get blown out last night. But, to their credit, I think this kind of discounts what a lot of people who were hating on Paul Maneri and the team are saying, that they're quitters, that they've quit. Well, quitters don't go out the next day after getting creamed like they did last night and play a good ball game and have a chance to win against number 5 Auburn. They lose 11-10 with a squeeze bunt. I guess it was maybe a safety squeeze to win it for Auburn in the bottom of the ninth in a game that just went back and forth all day long. Auburn took a 2-0 lead, then it was 3-1, then it was 7-2 Auburn after 3, and the Gamecocks could have packed it in. However, they scored 3 in the 4th and 3 in the 6th to take the lead, 8-7. Auburn comes back with 3 in the bottom of the 6th to go back on top. The Gamecocks scored a run in the 8th, a run in the 9th to tie it, and then Auburn scored that run in the bottom of the 9th. So, once again, pitching, not enough of it for South Carolina. They give up 11 hits. They had 17 hits, the Gamecocks did. Ordinarily, you scored 10 runs, you have 17 hits. You kind of feel like you're going to win a ball game. But today, the pitching for South Carolina just could not come up with that shutdown inning for the most part. They give up 13 hits. 9 of the 11 runs were earned runs. They walked 6, and they hit 4. So there you go with 10 more free passes that South Carolina pitching allowed today. After last night's game, in which they gave up 21 earned runs. They gave up 21 earned runs last night. The ERA for the Gamecock pitching staff in SEC competition was over 9. And so today they give up 11. Well, they give up 9 earned runs. 9 earned runs, so their ERA is going to be right about 9 going into the second game of this doubleheader. McCoy went 4 innings. He gave up 7 hits, 7 runs, 6 earned. He walked 4. He struck out 7. Becker comes in, pitches an inning in the 3rd, gives up a hit. He gives up a couple of earned runs. I believe the hit was it was not a home run. Sorry about that, not a home run. McCoy allowed 2 home runs. Auburn hit 3 home runs. Jones came in, did not record an out, gave up a couple of hits, an earned run. And then Crowther finished. He takes the loss 2-2. He goes 3 innings, allowed the winning run on 3 hits, and he hit 2. So South Carolina goes down again at Auburn. Offensively, Kazmar had a good day for the Gamecocks. He was 3 for 5, including a home run for the Gamecocks. And Hollins had a nice day. Not a nice day, an excellent day. 4 for 5, an RBI. He also had a home run. He's now hitting .331. And Scobie had 3 hits. He also had a home run for the Gamecocks. And he drove in 4. So some of the guys for the Gamecocks had good days. They hit 3 home runs. They had 4 doubles. Only struck out 6 times. But not enough. Not enough. Yeah. It's just one of those years for South Carolina where they just don't have all the pieces to win these games. You got to have a shutdown closer. They don't have that. You got to come up with the clutch hits in the tight situations. They don't necessarily have that. They left 8 on today. Auburn left 9. So, but the Gamecocks had 17 hits. 17 hits, 10 runs. You got to figure that they, as I look at some of the numbers here, overall not all that bad. They were 5 of 12 with runners in scoring position. That's not bad. 7 of 20 run with runners on base. Probably their weak point here was with 2 outs. They were 3 of 12. So couldn't come up with a clutch hit there with 2 outs. I guess you want to point to something. So the Gamecocks fall to Auburn 11-10. That second game will be getting underway here momentarily at Auburn. Meantime, they are underway at Doug Kingsmore, and Duke has jumped to a 2-0 lead on Clemson. They have runners on the corners with 1 out. This is off of Aiden Canuck, who's had his struggles here of late, and he gives up a home run for one of those runs and then a single for the second run, and that was after an error on the shortstop. So that run is unearned. Top of the first, Duke is up on Clemson 2-0. So we'll keep a close watch on that as well as the other baseball games going around the state and around the SEC and the ACC tonight. A lot of activity. Clemson softball. Tigers rallied and beat Virginia Tech today, so they're going to the ACC softball tournament championship to play Florida State. Of course, South Carolina was knocked out of the SEC softball tournament last night by Texas A&M, but they'll be moving on to the NCAA tournament. So much going on in so many different areas. Let's go over to Matt Smith, who's been in Myrtle Beach up the coast from me. He's been in Myrtle Beach today, taking in the second round of the One Flight Myrtle Beach Classic. There was rain, heavy rain, early this morning along the coast. I imagine that softened up those greens a little bit, Smitty. We're seeing good scores so far. Once again, Mackenzie Hughes currently is the leader after his 63 yesterday. He's still on the course at 2 under par, so he has the lead at 10 under. And then Danny Walker, Harry Higgs, and Nick Watney, they are all in at 9 under par. They are in the clubhouse at 9 under par. And Cristobal de Solar is on the course at 9 under along with Davis Shore. So, Smitty, your thoughts on the day at the course?
Yeah, I think so. The players got what they wanted in terms of conditions because the greens are playing fast and a little rain overnight in the morning and got to push the tee times back a little bit. And as you mentioned, Mackenzie Hughes is still out on the course. I expect him to come in with the lead as he did after the first round as well. And I spent much of my time at 18, and fortunately there was some action there. I just finished watching Bill Haas, one of the bigger names here, with his father, Jay Haas, on the bag. Saw him finish up at 18, and he is likely inside the cut line at 3 under. We've got that projected cut at 2 under. Everyone is chatting about that here, but Bill Haas was well right off the tee on 18, which has played difficult this week. It's played as the 4th most difficult hole here at the Dunes, and Bill was loose off the tee, and then he was forced to punch up, and I'm sure his father, Jay, was giving him advice, probably telling him where the projected cut was, what he needed to do. So Haas was standing there just 100 yards away from the pin, knowing he had a couple of strokes to play with, and hit it right at the fat of the green, and what I thought was going to be the fat of the green, but it spun off the front side, which is one of the reasons that this hole has played tough. You've got to go over water, bunkers on either side, and Haas rolled off the green. A chip and a putt later, he yielded a stroke back to the course, but it should be good enough to get in for the weekend. So that was a little dicey, a little adventurous there for Bill Haas, closing out at 18. Matt Neesmith will likely miss the cut. He's at 1 under, and he bogeyed 18. He ended up in the bunker on the right side at 18, and he ended up taking 3 putts on the 18th green. He was coming down the 18th fairway, 2 under par, right at that projected cut line, and he ended up taking a bogey on 3 putts, and he may miss the weekend now.
That's tough. That's tough. So what did you sense out there today after the weather this morning? Again, things were kind of backed up. I know it's been kind of hot and humid out there. From what you've heard from some of the players who've come in or what you've witnessed yourself, did the course overall play maybe a little bit softer today in the early part, or how did they find the course today so far?
I think it did play softer early on, and the players were satisfied with that. And then the humidity came in and the wind, and it may be. Look, I'm not going to take anything away from what Mackenzie Hughes has done. As I said, he's likely going to be the leader coming in after 2 rounds, but he probably got the best of the conditions yesterday with an early tee off, and then his tee time was pushed today, and the conditions were, again, ideal for scoring by early this afternoon. So, that's just the way it works out. Sometimes weather is a player. Weather is a part of the course. And I just think if you had an early tee time on Thursday and a later tee time on Friday, you probably got the best of the conditions. And some of the players atop the leaderboard happen to be in that exact circumstance.
Take a look at some of the other locals. Carson Young's going to make the cut at 6 under after a 66. He's tied for 16th. We talked about Nathan Franks. How about this, Smitty? Jackson Bird, playing as an amateur, the Clemson golfer, a 70 today, comes in at 3 under. He'll make the cut. His dad, of course, very famous, very popular, Jonathan Bird, a 69 today. He's not going to make the cut. At -1, he ties for 69th. So son is in, dad is out.
That's right. There'll be just one Bird on the weekend here in Myrtle Beach, and who would have guessed it? It would have been Jackson Bird. Now, we can hear from George Bryant about this later. I'm sure he knows all about this, but I was surprised. Jackson is really long. He had one of the longest drives this week so far at 348 yards. He's been averaging over 325 yards off the tee. So he's been really, really good out of the tee box, a lot longer than his dad has been playing. So I'm sure George has seen Jackson before, and he knows all about that. Also, Nathan Franks, who he was the story yesterday, and he continues to be a story. 1 under today, 5 under after 2 rounds, and get this, Corn, played the 3 par 5s at 1 over. So he really missed some opportunities. He's still well inside the cut line, so he'll have another shot at it. And you said, how is Nathan Franks going to get all the way out to Washington for the NCAA tournament? The answer is our sponsor, One Flight. They do private flights. They rent private jets to the wealthier among us, and maybe, just maybe, somebody from One Flight can hook Nathan Franks up and get him out to Washington.
Wow, that's a great idea. I'll mention that to Coach Bradley if they haven't already thought about that. But think what a good promotional deal that would be for One Flight if they were to make that happen. You mentioned Bill Haas going to make the weekend. Trace Crow, he still has a few more holes to go. He's at 3 under, so he's in right now. He doesn't need to stumble coming in. Kevin Kisner will miss the weekend after a 70, -1. And you talked about Matt Neesmith, so that's the way things look there. And Smitty, we'll let you go. You'll rejoin us tonight for Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps from Myrtle Beach. We'll hear more from you.
Looking forward to it. I'll bring the biceps.
You bring the biceps. You do have the biceps. Okay, Matt Smith from over at the Dunes Club in Myrtle Beach. Meantime, up in Philly, where they're playing the Truist Championship, it is Keith Mitchell, 67. He's 12 under. Shane Lowry is 11 under after a 66. Sepp Straka is 10 under after a 67. Justin Thomas and Roy McIlroy, both with 67s today, both with 66s yesterday. They are in a large group at 7 under with Colin Morikawa, Akshay Bhatia, Siwoo Kim, Patrick Cantlay. They're all at 7 under. As for some of the others that we keep a watch on, Ricky Fowler is in at 6 under. Andrew Novak, a 71. He is in at 3 under. Remember, this is a no-cut elevated event, so there's no cut here. Jordan Spieth, a 68, is 2 under, along with Jacob Bridgman, who had a 67. Brian Campbell, a 72. He's at 1 under par. Lucas Glover, a 70, is at +2. And how about Justin Rose? Not a good showing. Well, not a good day for him. 70 yesterday, 77 today. He is at +7. Okay, as we go to the break, we'll update the baseball. It is Duke, bottom of the first, leading Clemson 2-0. Tigers have a runner on second. College of Charleston leading North Carolina A&T 2-1, top of the second. Coastal Carolina, what a comeback for Coastal last night. They were like down 7-1, came back to beat ULM. They lead 1-0, top of the second. South Carolina's taking a 1-0 lead on Auburn in the bottom of the first. Here they go again, and we'll be back.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Okay, we're back. It is Sports Talk Media Network. Phone number 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery number to reach us here on Sports Talk. And our text message line, we've got some text messages coming in, and that number is 803-900-4847. USC men's tennis lost at Stanford 4-0 in the quarterfinal round of the Super Regional of the NCAA men's tennis tournament. So a very fine season for South Carolina men's tennis comes to an end. They lose 4-0 out there. We told you about Clemson rallying to beat Virginia Tech 10-9 at the ACC softball tournament. They'll move on to play Florida State tomorrow in the championship game. Of course, the story that just keeps on giving. It just keeps on giving. Today, Jordan Hudson, the girlfriend of North Carolina football coach Bill Belichick, according to North Carolina, is not banned from the team's facilities. UNC, however, UNC put out a statement. Now, this is a statement they put out because of a reporter, a podcaster who used to be with ESPN. His name is Pablo Torre. He put out a story citing multiple sources. He cited, I think, 11 sources, I think he said, who were close to Belichick, that told him that the young lass had been banned from all facilities at North Carolina, football facilities and the like. And there was a lot of internal disruption as a result of her, et cetera, et cetera. And so North Carolina felt like they had to put out a statement. And they're saying this was he reported that this was, I think, condoned by the university. This was all part of the athletic department saying, you can't come into all these different places. And the university put out a statement that said, quote, while Jordan Hudson is not an employee at the University of North Carolina Athletics, she is welcome to the Carolina football facilities. Jordan will continue to manage all activities related to Coach Belichick's personal brand outside of his responsibilities for Carolina football and the university. That's just part of the statement that they put out. So Pablo Torre says, and he stands by his story, he says North Carolina can put out a story, they can twist it however they want to, but he stands by everything he's gotten from his sources close to Belichick. So the story that just keeps on giving, if it really is a story, I guess it is a story because, the personal affairs of celebrities is a story. It is something that people are interested in, and this is obviously a very interesting dynamic here when you got a 73-year-old football coach and a 24-year-old Miss Maine runner-up. As I said before, she'd probably finished fifth in the Miss South Carolina pageant at best, but she'd be a runner-up at Miss Maine. Anyway, that makes for interesting conversation. Back to more serious stuff. Shane Beamer last night in Greenville confirmed to the media there that Vicari Swain will be fully back on the team beginning with summer session 1. He'd been out for spring practice because of what they called an academic concern. So he is fully good to go. And this is good news for South Carolina. It gives them a veteran corner, a guy that played in 13 games last year, had 13 tackles, had a sack, broke up a pass, is generally considered a good cornerback, and he will compete for that cornerback spot opposite of, most likely, a Judge Collier, though, of course, Shane Beamer does not have a depth chart at this particular time except at quarterback. No other starters in his mind, but it would look like Judge Collier is the likely starter at one corner, and now Swain will compete with the others at that other corner. Okay, we'll hit the break, and we'll be back in just a moment here on Sports Talk. It's still 2-0 Duke over Clemson.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Overnight showers are possible tonight. A low temperature dipping to 59. Tomorrow, look for a 40% chance we get some on and off rain to go with a much cooler high temperature of 70. For Mother's Day on Sunday, a high of 72. It's a wet afternoon. Rain chance is better than 60%. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey y'all, it's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We're introducing Friday Night Prime Rib Special. Our great chefs at Flight Deck Restaurant have created a great prime rib dinner special, which includes a 10-ounce slow-roasted certified Angus beef prime rib dinner, served with 2 sides of your choice for only $22.95. And if you mention We Love Flight Deck, you get a free cookie or a soft drink with your meal. So come see us at Flight Deck Restaurant to enjoy a delicious slow-roasted prime rib dinner. While you're here, check out the new and improved arcade with over 33 games. We at Flight Deck Restaurant thank you, and God bless.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The air traffic controllers directing planes into the Newark, New Jersey airport lost their radar Friday morning for the second time in 2 weeks. The Federal Aviation Administration says the radar at the facility in Philadelphia that directs planes in and out of Newark Airport went black for 90 seconds at 3:55 a.m. Friday. President Trump on Friday floated cutting tariffs on China to 80% ahead of a weekend meeting as he looks to de-escalate the trade war. Top U.S. officials are set to meet with a high-level Chinese delegation this weekend in Switzerland in the first major talks between the two nations since Trump sparked a trade war with stiff tariffs on imports. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 119 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Hey, it's Kev. I'm hanging out with Ken, the owner of Broker Solar, a local company. Now, Ken, I know you have some solar pet peeves. These national guys, they're just not very honest.
One of the common myths in the solar industry is that you can get solar for free or some kind of government-paid solar, and that's simply not the truth. What you can get is a solid investment that has tax credits that will pay you back for years to come. That's one of the things that we promote at Broker Solar is proper education in what solar is and how you can take advantage of the incentives that are out there, local and federal.
Tell me more about these tax credits.
There's currently a huge federal tax credit that gets you a third of the system cost back. And on top of that, the state of South Carolina, we're lucky enough to have an extra 25% of that solar system cost come back to you in the form of tax credits, totaling for a 55% discount on your solar system back in tax credits.
Call Broker Solar. Call them now, 803-807-7417 or online, brokersolar.com.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life with Spa MD, your sanctuary of rejuvenation. Feel the tension melt away as our expert team guides you through your customized wellness journey. From soothing massages to revitalizing treatments, we promise a remarkable experience that leaves you feeling renewed and empowered. Discover the calm within every visit. Reach out at 251-9400 or online at visitspamd.com to explore your options. Your oasis of tranquility awaits.
Can't stand when the next door neighbor has something you'd love? They call that spring envy. You do not want to experience spring envy, do you? At Floor Boys, your neighbors can envy you because you'll get your flooring fixed this spring. With Floor Boys, you can get up to 48 months of 0% financing, interest-free up to 48 months on the finest quality hardwoods, LVP, carpeting, laminate, tile, even area rugs. Don't wait. This incredible deal is only good through June 2nd, and then you'll be back to that wicked case of spring envy. Visit floorboys.com for all the details.
Experience South Carolina's printing powerhouse. Professional Printers is your trusted partner, bringing over 30 years of expertise in print and graphics. From digital printing to web and sheet-fed solutions, we handle it all with a team of over 100 dedicated professionals. Locally owned and operated, we have 2 locations in the Midlands and serve our customers with pride, ensuring top-notch service and quality in every project. We do it all, including storage and promotional products. Visit proprinters.com and elevate your printing experience with us.
We are back on Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut from our Coastal Empire studios here along the coast of South Carolina. And we have Josh and Jesse back at the studios in Columbia. Phone number 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Of course, while I was down here the other night, did the show from over at Jimmy Smith's place at James Smith Real Estate, right there at the corner of Litchfield and Pawleys Island. Make sure you give Jimmy a call to take care of all of your beach needs for this coming summer. Don't be left out in the heat. Not the cold, but the heat. Don't be left out. You want a comfortable place with air conditioning that works and plumbing that works. Now, if you have a plumbing problem, we do have a plumber here in our studio, Josh the plumber, and he'll be happy to take care of any plumbing problems you might have. But Jimmy's not going to put you in a place with bad plumbing or bad air conditioning. He's going to get you what you want at the price that fits your budget and with the space that you need. His phone number is 843-237-4246, online at PawleysVacationRentals.com. That's for your perfect beach getaway. Okay, let's take a look at these baseball scores. We got some text messages to get into as well. Let's update what's going on. It's Duke 2-0 over Clemson in the bottom of the second. This Duke team, like these two teams are two ships headed in opposite directions. While Clemson has been sliding, Duke has been climbing. Duke comes in having won 9 of their last 10 games and swinging a pretty hot bat here in the month of May with a team batting average of 400 so far this month. So Duke with a pretty good run going, and this series this weekend, these are two teams that are sitting right there in the ACC standings, like in 6th place. They're tied, but, I mean, they could move up depending what happens with other games. They could move up 5th or 4th. They're that close. Everything is that bunched up in the ACC where you can make a move here if you win games over the next couple of weeks. So Duke right now on top of Clemson, 2-0. Then again, we do, of course, understand that Clemson has a propensity for coming from behind in a lot of these games. South Carolina now up on Auburn 3-0, and we do know that the Gamecocks have a propensity for blowing leads that they might have. On the rare occasions that they have leads, they tend to blow those leads because their pitching's been so doggone awful. But they've got Dylan Eskew on the mound for them in this one. They're up 3-0 so far. Well, they're only in the bottom of the second, so Eskew has given up a couple of hits. He did that in the first. He's got 1 strikeout. He's thrown 9 pitches, 7 for strikes as he goes to the bottom of the second. The Gamecocks were just retired in the top of the second, but the Gamecocks have scored on a Wojta double to right center. That was an RBI in the first, and he's been swinging a pretty hot bat. And then Stone homered, 2-run homer to right. So that gives the Gamecocks a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the second. Boy, could they use a starter like Eskew. And Eskew has done it before. I mean, didn't he throw a complete game earlier this year or close to it? He has shown them that he can give them some distance, and they certainly need that because they used a lot of pitchers in that last game, and they're already pitching is very, very thin for them. Also, we've got College of Charleston leading North Carolina A&T in the top of the third, and that's a 2-1 score. Coastal Carolina's extended its lead over Louisiana Monroe to 4-0 in the bottom of the second inning. And let's see, do we have any other scores for you at the moment? That is it for right now. A few other notes to tell you about from things going on today. We talked about what Shane Beamer said about Vicari Swain. That's certainly good news. The Panthers with some more roster moves, including waiving injured tight end Colin Granger, who was from Coastal Carolina. So he is out with the Panthers. A couple of other notes that from the other day that we didn't get a chance to touch on. This is kind of interesting. We talked about the fact that President Trump wants to put together this commission, and he wants Nick Saban to be the co-chairman, along with the other person who would be the co-chair is Cody Campbell. And he's called the Texas Tech chairman, Cody Campbell. Cody Campbell is the founder of the Texas Tech NIL Collective. He sold his oil and natural gas company, Double Eagle, for $4.1 billion. And so he will be the co-commissioner with Saban if this commission comes together. And here is some views that this Cody Campbell had recently on how to fix college sports. Some of the things that he talked about included allowing for the enforcement of contracts, which he says comes in the form of antitrust shield. He said there must be a single set of rules and laws to govern college sports across the country, not a patchwork of 34 different state laws as we have today. You know, this stuff just makes common sense. So he also continues, Iamaleava did not go to practice at Tennessee on Friday, and it's probably safe to assume he also didn't go to class. He said we need to reform to reaffirm that the athletes must remain student athletes and not become employees of the universities. Establishing this non-employee status will help to limit the cost burden of sponsoring an intercollegiate sport and ensure that benefits like a scholarship are not taxable as income. Oh, a scholarship. Remember when that used to be valuable? Remember when that used to mean something? Everybody has just overlooked the scholarship aspect of all this. What I have made the argument that really coming out of high school and going to college, all you deserve is a scholarship. And then any NIL money that you can make on your own, which should just be, not six figures. Most people can't do that. The few that can, more power to you. But what's happening, of course, is that you've got the competition for all these players, and everything's being elevated when really the scholarship, the full scholarship, should be what a high school student gets and deserves to play college sports, if you ask me. He also writes, the proper application of Title IX with respect to the payment of student athletes must be made clear in order to prevent another wave of disruptive litigation. So they got to clarify how all this impacts Title IX. Well, I'm no expert on that by any means, but it seems to me that Title IX requires the schools to provide the opportunity for females to get scholarships and compete. And I don't see where any of this should be changing that. The scholarships for the women will still be there. Now, I know we've heard some threats where schools say they're going to have to cut sports as a result of this. So I don't know how you're going to handle that. Are they going to try to balance it out where you still have the same number of scholarships for the men and the women, which is something that Title IX forced them to work towards? Because football is so scholarship heavy. If you're talking about 105 football scholarships, well, you got to have a combination of women's sports that equals 105 scholarships, and then, of course, the other sports as well to balance it out. That's why you saw the addition of all these women's sports like softball and rowing and lacrosse, et cetera, et cetera. But as long as you're allowing the opportunity, now, are you going to make the argument that the male athletes are commanding more NIL money versus the female? Well, is that not the result of the open market more so than it is the school itself? I mean, if a school – now, if you're going to be bidding, if you're a school and you're using NIL to recruit, which you shouldn't be doing, and you're using that to bid for players, then shame on you. But then again, you can't – I don't see how you're legally bound – to make the same type of offer to a less marketable person than the person who is more marketable, who you're making the bigger play for. Again, I don't know how all that works. I'm just using a little bit of my own thinking there, my own logic. And he continues, furthermore, to permanently sustain the economic model, we must reimagine the organization and governance of college sports altogether. The professional sports league, especially the NFL, have found great success in building the brands of all of its franchises, not just those in the big markets. This has expanded the league's economic pie, created greater parity, and has massively increased viewership. College sports do not currently have the right to take the same approach, as they do not have protection under the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961, as do the pro leagues. You might ask, what is that? What is the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961? Well, what it is it gave the NFL, and I guess the other pro leagues, it gave them the right to take the pool of money that they got from all the broadcasting rights and share it among the teams. And now currently, for the colleges, of course, you don't have that. You have schools, I guess, getting different amounts of money off of their own contracts. And, of course, the branding of the schools, they have been independent of one another forever. Trying to get them all together under the same umbrella to be branded as the National College Sports Association, where, let me just think, where New Mexico is as valuable as Notre Dame. Yeah, I don't know if you're going to ever get that for college sports. In the NFL, the great example is, of course, the Green Bay Packers and the New York Giants or the L.A. Rams. How do you have a city like Green Bay of 60,000 people back in the day? It's probably more than that now, with an 80,000-seat stadium. How do they compete against the huge cities like L.A. and Chicago and New York? It's because the NFL is set up this way. The NFL has the antitrust protections. They can share everything equally. The Giants are considered no greater than the Packers, despite the difference in the sizes of the markets. Green Bay gets its same cut as the Giants do, etc. Can you ever achieve that in college sports? So he writes, through inclusion in the Sports Broadcasting Act, colleges would gain the right to pool and jointly market their media rights and install a media revenue distribution system that would significantly increase total revenue and would promote parity. But see, colleges have never been in favor of parity. The Alabamas and the Oklahomas and the Southern Cals and the Notre Dames of the world, they don't want the South Carolinas and the West Virginias and the Kansas States to have fun like they have. You know, they had trouble with Clemson rising up. Look at the jealousy and animosity towards Clemson when Clemson rose up and won a couple of national championships and became a national power. They don't want that stuff. That's never been part of the college game. The big and storied programs will continue to retain an advantage because of their massive ticket sales, donor support, and ability to monetize licensing and merchandise. But the smaller schools, man, it gets cut off there for some reason. Finally, he writes, there must be, and here is something we've talked about forever, there must be some geographic sense made of conference alignment. Yes, sir, buddy. Because the conferences must compete with each other for media deals, they are incentivized to organize in the leagues that span multiple time zones and cover the full width of the continent. This has resulted in the loss of traditional rivalries and has ballooned travel expenses and time away from the classroom, especially for the non-revenue sports. It also diminishes fan engagement and excludes those who cannot afford cross-country travel for weekend games. He says, my only hope is the leadership can emerge and consensus can be found in Washington before it's too late. There are solutions, and the problems can be solved in a bipartisan manner. It's only a matter of will, engagement, and attention from well-intentioned individuals who wish to perpetuate the legacy and impact of the great American institution of intercollegiate athletics for all of its, and then it gets cut off again. So, I mean, I can't agree more with most everything this gentleman wrote, and he's a pretty smart guy. He just sold something for $4 billion. It sounds to me like we should just sit up and pay attention to what he's got to say. A lot of that's just plain common sense, but trying to get that done in college sports, as you well know, is a difficult assignment. All right, update baseball as we go to the break. It is Coastal Carolina up on ULM 4-0. Duke, top of the third, leading Clemson 2-0, 1 out. Tigers have a runner on first. College of Charleston after 3, leading North Carolina A&T 3-1. Auburn has put 2 on the board in the bottom of the second with the home run. And so it's 3-2, South Carolina leading Auburn as they play the top of the third, and we'll be right back.
When I grew up, I want to be a nurse. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a teacher.
There's never been a better time to start making their dreams come true. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to save for their future education. Contributions are tax deductible, earnings are tax free, and you can start saving right now with any amount. Go to futurescholar.com today to discover the smart, easy way to save for college. That's futurescholar.com.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show.
Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
Major Billy Downer here from the Department of Natural Resources, and DNR is excited to announce the implementation of Go Outdoors SC, a new online licensing and boat titling system that you can access right from your phone. Through this new system, customers can purchase their hunting and fishing licenses, renew their boats, apply for lottery hunt opportunities, and complete electronic harvest reporting requirements. For more information, visit Go Outdoors SC at your local app store.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union now through October 31st, and you'll be entered to win up to $25,000 toward your qualifying auto loan and a $5,000 deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or transfer it out to spend. And the best part? We'll be choosing monthly winners, so the earlier you get your auto loan, the more chances you have to win. So don't wait. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto to learn more or begin your auto loan application today. Not a Founders member yet? Visit us online or stop by an office to learn more about Founders and see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you'll need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax, you're with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
Give you more baseball scores before we hit the top of the hour. Western Carolina 7-1 over the Citadel, top of the 7th. Tennessee 1-0 on Vanderbilt, bottom of the 4th. NC State leading North Carolina 1-0, bottom of the 3rd. Virginia 3-0 over Miami. That's after 2. Presbyterian 3-2 over Upstate. That is top of 3. Wake Forest over Pittsburgh 4-3, top of 3. Louisville 8-0 over Georgia Tech, top of the 2nd. Oklahoma, Kentucky scoreless, bottom of the 1st. Coming up, you got Missouri, Texas A&M. Missouri 0-24 in the SEC. Georgia and Alabama tonight. Florida and Texas play tonight. Arkansas, LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Some of the other games on the schedule tonight. This came out this afternoon, and this is worth noting as well, that there is growing Big Ten and SEC support for a 16-team college football playoff bracket, most notably 4 SEC, 4 Big Ten, 2 ACC, 2 Big 12, 1 group of 6, and 3 at-large. This from Ross Dellinger from Yahoo Sports. Season-ending interleague play in games. Season-ending interleague play-in games. Say that one more time. With season-ending interleague play-in games. 3rd place versus 6th. 4th place versus 5th. That's something that Yahoo Sports reported back in February. So, momentum is continuing to build to expand the playoffs to as many as 16 teams. What makes you think they'll stop at 16 when they get to 16? This format change would clear the way for SEC administrators to finally, as he writes, make the long-discussed move to play 9 regular season conference games, would trigger perhaps all 4 power leagues to overhaul their conference championship weekend. I mean, this kind of goes back to what the guy from Texas Tech, who's going to be chairman of this commission, writes about. You've got to come to some consensus throughout the country on how to handle all this stuff. You know, one league's got it one way, another league's got it another way, and it's got to all be under one governance and one big league for these teams that want to play at the highest level and spend the money. I saw today where University of Texas reportedly, to put their roster together for 2025, is going to spend upwards of $30 million on their players. Upwards of $30 million. I mean, who can do that on a regular basis? Maybe Texas can. There aren't many. Says here, final decisions and all this we're talking about are expected in the coming weeks. SEC and Big Ten ADs will meet Wednesday in New Orleans for the second time in the last 5 months. Big 12 ADs are expected to discuss the future playoff format at meetings this week. ACC ADs and their presidents, they met last week in Charlotte. CFP Management Committee scheduled to meet February 25th in Dallas, where the SEC and Big Ten could present ideas for a future format. Actually, that would obviously happened previously. And, you know what I'm reading here? I'm reading notes from an older story. So all those meetings have already taken place. My apologies. I'm reading from Ross Jellinger posted an older story. So I'm reading something that's already happened as far as those meetings are concerned. But this all goes back to what he wrote about in February regarding the idea of going to 14 or 16 teams in their playoffs. So, and this play-in idea as well to further expand the playoffs in some form or fashion. I'm telling you, I'm wondering how that's going to impact the traditional end-of-season rivalry games. You know, those games that come as the last weekend of the regular season. I sure hope we don't do something with the playoffs, the expansion, these play-in games that will impact that, because let's face it, that weekend around Thanksgiving, when we have all the rivalry games, is probably the most special weekend of the year in college football. Even more special, I know the playoffs, you're trying to win a national championship, and everything that comes with making the playoffs, that's all great. That's gravy. But there's nothing better than the rivalry weekend in college football. And why do we want to mess with that? You know? Why do you want to damage that aspect of your sport that's been so good to the sport for all these years? So the point in all this is they're talking about it. It is something that's on the table, and it's going to be continue to be bounced around here until they come up with some sort of absolute format for the next round of playoff expansion. Okay, top of the hour. I'll tell you, Duke continues to lead Clemson 2-0, and South Carolina now continues to lead Auburn 3-2, and we'll be back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Democrats in Congress are lying to the American public on the issue of Medicaid. That's the view of House Speaker Mike Johnson, who's working to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse in the Medicaid program by eliminating payments to able-bodied young people and illegal aliens. On the Salem News program this week on Capitol Hill with Tony Perkins, Johnson says that's a far cry from Democrats claiming Medicaid will be eliminated.
Medicaid is a very important safety net for young pregnant mothers who are single, for example, and the disabled and the elderly and people who genuinely need a hand up sometimes. And it's not meant for young men to sit around on their couches and play video games. So we're going to get those guys off the program, and that's a responsibility that everybody in Congress should take seriously. The Democrats are trying to play politics. We're trying to be responsible in governing all this.
Speaker Johnson's entire interview on This Week on Capitol Hill will be broadcast beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time Saturday on the Salem News Channel. President Trump is proposing the possibility of lower tariffs on China ahead of this weekend's trade talks. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
The president said tariffs on Chinese goods could go from 145% down to 80%. He floated the idea in a social media post, saying it's up to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who will be meeting with officials from China. Donald Trump also called on China to open its markets to the U.S., writing, "Closed markets don't work anymore." Greg Clugston, Washington.
The air traffic controllers directing planes into the Newark, New Jersey airport lost their radar Friday morning for the second time in 2 weeks. The radar at the facility in Philadelphia went black for 90 seconds. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 119 points. More at townhall.com.
You heard the news. Newsmax just went public on the New York Stock Exchange and listed on the big board. Millions of Americans like you are joining our news revolution. Reuters Institute says Newsmax is one of the top 12 news brands in America. Even President Trump says it's terrific. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax, and its audience grew 50% since the same time last year. Millions really are making the switch to Newsmax. If you want to be a Newsmax share owner, call your advisor or get more info at newsmaxinvest.com. Stand with Newsmax today for a strong America. This communication is for informational purposes only and shall not be intended to or shall not constitute any offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such offer, solicitation, or sale would be unlawful.
A FedEx board member has been picked to be the next U.S. Postmaster General.
David Steiner is slated to take over control of the U.S. Postal Service as the nation's 76th Postmaster General, pending his successful completion of an ethics and security clearance process. Steiner was CEO of Waste Management and serves on the FedEx Board of Directors. The Trump administration has floated the idea of privatizing the nearly 250-year-old Postal Service amid chronic financial challenges. Postal unions have protested any potential privatization. They also expressed concern over Steiner's potential conflict of interest. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The Justice Department has opened a federal civil rights investigation into a Muslim-centered planned community around one of the state's largest mosques near Dallas. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Overnight showers are possible tonight. A low temperature dipping to 59. Tomorrow, look for a 40% chance we get some on and off rain to go with a much cooler high temperature of 70. For Mother's Day on Sunday, a high of 72. It's a wet afternoon. Rain chance is better than 60%. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Ooh, I like when you press that one.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network on this Friday night. Glad to have you with us as we head into the weekend. Very active weekend with baseball going on and all the golf going on and all the spring sports stuff going on. We're doing our best to keep up with everything. One more look at the baseball scores, and then we'll get into recruiting here momentarily. They are through 3 innings, and Duke has a 2-0 lead on Clemson. The Tigers have only 1 hit. They have left 2 to this point, and Canuck, through 3 innings, has allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, only 1 earned. He's thrown 62 pitches, struck out 4, and walked 2. And the Tigers have just the 1 hit. That was by Cannarella. Otherwise, nothing against the Duke pitcher who became a starter this year. This is his 7th start of the season, I believe, and he is pitching very well so far for Duke as they lead it 2-0 against the Tigers as they play the top of the 4th. Meantime, you got South Carolina with a 3-2 lead on Auburn. They play the top of the 4th. Gamecocks jumped out early to a 3-0 lead. Auburn came back with a 2-run homer to make it 3-2. The Gamecocks are threatening in the top of the 4th. They have runners on first and second and one away. But right now leading 3-2 after losing 11-10, losing in the bottom of the 9th. Squeeze bunt back to the pitcher, Crowther, who for whatever reason didn't look home. Looked like he was going to try to make a play at first, but that wasn't going to do you any good. Also in that game, and this came back to haunt the Gamecocks too, they had a runner thrown out at the plate. Ill-advised attempt to score with one out, and a runner on third, a fly ball to the center fielder, Irish, who's got a very good arm. He was not deep, and he nailed the runner by a good 2 or 3 feet. Really didn't have a chance. That was a costly mistake because the next hitter for the Gamecocks, what did he do? He got a base hit. So the runner would have scored had Monty Lee not sent him, but they did, and they failed, and it cost them a chance at a run. Coastal Carolina leading ULM 5-0 in the bottom of the 4th. College of Charleston 3-2 over North Carolina A&T. They're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Check on a couple of others. It's now 9-1 Western over the Citadel. Tennessee 1-0 on Vanderbilt. NC State 1-0 on North Carolina. 3-1 Virginia leading Miami. 3-3 Upstate and Presbyterian. Wake Forest leading Pittsburgh 7-3. Louisville all over Georgia Tech now. It's 14-0. Louisville had a 13-run second inning. How long did that take to play? And they're up 14-0. Kentucky, Oklahoma scoreless. Missouri and Texas A&M scoreless very early. Georgia with a 9-3 lead on Alabama in the top of the 6th. This Georgia team, of course, is really, really good. This will be their 40th win. They go on to win. It'll be their 40th win of the season. So there you go with the college baseball scene to this point. Couple of text messages coming in to us from one of our text messengers. The word for baseball Thursday was embarrassed. Yep, that was a tough one to watch if you're a South Carolina fan. The good thing is you could turn your TV channel very early because after South Carolina took a 1-0 lead, Auburn scored 24. I think it was 24 unanswered points. It should be points. 24 unanswered runs in that middle section, like the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th innings. Like they blew it up right in there. You could have turned your channel away very, very easily. From Eddie, he said, I wanted to say a couple of words. The production from Josh and Jesse is great. The sound on YouTube is excellent. I used to work at WNOK in Columbia while in college at USC decades ago. We did have carts and some CDs. These guys have tech savvy and do excellent jobs. Love the show for decades. Take care. Thanks again for the entertainment and info for years and years. Well, thank you, Eddie. And the plumber and the body, they are doing a great job. Too bad that one of them's got to get fired, you know. Can't keep them both employed. Somebody's got to hit the road here. I don't know. I'm still trying to decide on that. Let's see how smooth this transition is as we go to the recruiting report tonight here on Sports Talk. Oh, very smooth there, buddy. Very smooth. The recruiting report, as always, is brought to you by Seawells. I want to remind you that with the spring and summertime here, that means a lot of great events for you and your family. Could be a wedding reception or a birthday party or an awards banquet, maybe a corporate outing, a business luncheon, all of that covered by Seawells. They can come to your location and handle your very special event, or they can host your event at their location. They've been in business for about 80 years, so obviously they are beloved in the state of South Carolina, and they do a great job for the people they work with. Their phone number is 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. Don't forget, on Tuesday, they crank back up the daily luncheon buffet from Tuesday to Friday from 11 till 2. Make sure you check it out. South Carolina offensive line coach Lonnie Teasley has 2 commitments for his positions in the 26 class. He's looking for more. One he has his eyes fixed on is offensive tackle Kamari Blair, 6'6", 280, Clarksville, Tennessee. The two met earlier this week as a prelim to Blair's official visit on June 6th. Blair said they went out to dinner, just hung out, catching up, chatting. They've already talked a lot about recruiting and football, and he just wants to get to his official visit and see how everything goes with that. And that's one of the things they talked about was the upcoming official visit. He said South Carolina is certainly one of his top schools. He gets a good family vibe out of South Carolina. Shane Beamer checks up on him often. He also plans officials to Florida State, Ole Miss, and Kentucky. Those official visits will help him finalize his future plans by giving him a deep feel for the relationships he's built with each program. And so that's going to be important to him to see how he fits in with the people in each program. His visit to South Carolina will be his second. He was also in for a spring practice in early April. And as he goes into the official visit phase of the recruiting process, he says he hasn't made a decision. He's trying to stay open-minded, but he does have a favorite. He would not disclose it, but he does have a favorite. And so once again, got the official visits coming up with South Carolina, Florida State, Ole Miss, and Kentucky. Along with Teasley, he's had recruiters in from Kentucky, Ole Miss, Missouri, Wisconsin, Georgia Tech, and Indiana. Checking on another offensive lineman, Clinton offensive guard Trey Aiken, 6'4", 305, coming off a state championship season. He's been working hard already, getting set for the next season. Weight room work, spring practice work. Coaches from Clemson, Georgia Tech, and Virginia Tech went to the school earlier this week to visit with him. He's not really doing anything with Clemson, but the Tigers did stop by. He's also expecting a visit in the near future from Teasley. In the meantime, he's been keeping in touch with Teasley. He said just catching up with him. Everything is set with his official visit, so not that all much to talk about because he wants to get to the official visit and go from there. But he is excited about these official visits, and they'll help him make his decision. His first official visit will be Georgia Tech on May 30th. NC State will be the next weekend, followed by Virginia Tech. And then South Carolina. On these visits, he said, will loom large. He definitely has an open mind right now. He has not made up his mind on anything. It's been a difficult process. He knows it's the most important decision of his life. He says he's just trying to take his time and make sure he gets it right. The biggest factor is going to be, from these official visits, how comfortable he feels around the coaches and the players. He just said he's looking to see if he fits in at a particular school. Is this his type of school? Can he fit in the locker room? What's the education like? Those are things that he'll be considering. He hit up USC, Virginia Tech, and Georgia Tech in March. He also stopped at NC State in early April. He's a good one. He graded out at 92% with 80 knockdown blocks last season to help Clinton win a state championship. You follow high school football in South Carolina, you know how good Clinton was and how good that offensive line was and how well they ran the football. Quarterback Landon Duckworth of Jackson, Alabama, named the top 5 of South Carolina, North Carolina, Ole Miss, Florida State, and Auburn. South Carolina's in the Final 4 with defensive end Carter Meadows of Washington. The others are Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. Some more offers from South Carolina. In the 26th class, defensive tackle Whitley Cadeau, 6'5", 290 from Atlanta. 27 class, safety Omari Sanders of Nashville. He's a big safety, 6'4", 205. And defensive end James Pace, 6'4", 235 from Hyattsville, Maryland. Clemson target, defensive end J.R. Hardrick was offered by Mississippi State and Kentucky. South Carolina commitment cornerback Jazavian Currents was offered by Texas. And in basketball, upstate transfer guard Mr. Dean committed to the College of Charleston. Big South Freshman of the Year after averaging 16 points and 6 rebounds per game. He's a good one. That's a big pickup, no question about it, for the College of Charleston. That will do it for recruiting tonight here on Sports Talk. Okay, let's update baseball before we go to the break, and then we turn our attention to NASCAR as they go racing in Kansas this weekend. It's Duke still 2-0 on Clemson, bottom of the 4th. Tigers have a runner on first. South Carolina, top of the 5th, leading Auburn 3-2. It's SQ still on the mound, giving up 6 hits and 2 runs. He's thrown 46 pitches. 6-0 Coastal over ULM. And now North Carolina A&T has taken the lead on the College of Charleston, top of the 6th, 4-3. Be back in a moment.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I'm not a case manager. I'm a lawyer for over 35 years. I don't charge 40% for your injury in your wreck case or any on-the-job injury. Call 803-765-2968 and ask for Jim Corbett, or email me, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, for the experience of a lawyer handling your injury case. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968. jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Put 35 years of experience to work on your injury case.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
If you're looking to grow your business, Sports Talk is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner or part of a large company in the Palmetto State, we want to hear about what you do. Sports Talk has a proven track record of delivering real results to our partners, and advertising with us is probably more affordable than you think. Our network of affiliates gives us the flexibility to work with budgets of all sizes, and our statewide coverage means that whether you're in Greenville, Orangeburg, Chesterfield, Charleston, Woodruff, or anywhere in between, your future customers are listening to Sports Talk every night. Radio remains one of the most effective ways to reach potential customers, and with our extensive reach across South Carolina, your message will be heard. Every business has a story, and we're here to help share yours. Let's find success together. Email us at sportstalkmedianetwork@gmail.com or visit sportstalksc.com to learn more about how we can help grow your business.
George Bryan here with Tsunami Bar Sports and some great spring golf news. If you're ready to mash your tater, I think you need a Laginator. And if you want to get more speed and crack the whip, it's time for a mini stick. So TsunamiBarSports.com, GB10 to get 10% off the Laginator and the mini stick. That's TsunamiBarSports.com, GB10 for 10% off.
All right, come on, Bobby, let me hear you. Boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys. Come on, Bobby, let me hear you. Go racing, boys. That deep voice. He'll pick it up eventually. Unlike that squeaky, squirrely voice that the plumber has, the Body's got a deep, manly voice. Speaking of manly voices, let's welcome in Jeff Owens with his manly voice in the fast lane here on Sports Talk. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hello, Phil.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Phil. I'm doing great, Phil. That didn't work so well, did it? My impression.
No, you
of
came across
there, but I'm doing great. How you doing today?
You came across like a crew chief up in the box.
There you go.
Chewing out his driver.
Right. There you go. There you
I
go.
understand. Understand. All right, let's before we move ahead, let's talk about last week. What'd you think of that finish that we had last week? It was overtime. It was eventful, and then of course we had a driver at the end there kind of take off and win comfortably. But it's a pretty good race there for the most part.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought so, Phil. It's kind of a typical race at Homestead like that. They get strung out a little bit. You know, it's kind of indicative of the era we're in right now with the competition. You're going to see different drivers dominate different stages of the race, but you got other guys jockeying for position, rolling the dice, coming up with some strategy. And if you get that caution flag at the right time, you roll the dice, and there's no telling who could win these things because you got a bunch of cars up there all of a sudden capable of getting it done. And that's what happened last week. And Joey Logano walks away with a win. And, perfect call and a great move by him to get going on what had been so far a pretty slow start to his season. So he gets a much-needed win, and I'm sure that'll give him a lot of momentum.
Absolutely. What do you think happened to McDowell? Because he was running so strongly, and he was right up there, and then he gets past, and he sort of drifts back. I asked Josh Harris that on Tuesday, and he kind of offered the opinion that with these particular cars, I guess you get out in the open air like that in that particular setting, you tend to lose your momentum and you tend to drift back. Is that how you saw it?
Yeah, I think it just got loose on him, and I think he kind of brushed the wall a little bit. And then at that point, I'm not sure if they showed that replay or not, but I thought he tagged the wall. He got loose, he tagged the wall, and at that point in the race, you do that and you're done. And he just started falling back, and here comes everybody else behind him. You know, I think he was kind of on older tires anyway, so he was just sort of kind of hanging on there. And when you're doing that, when you're taking a gamble on tires like that, they're going to wear. And you get in a difficult situation like that, they can go loose on you, and you can get up into the wall. And I think that's what happened to him.
When are they going to bring back the soft tires? Do we have any races coming up with the optional soft tires?
Yeah, they're working on that. I think the next one will probably be Richmond, I believe. But, yeah, they're working on the softer tire, and they're trying to create it for more tracks, and I think that's absolutely what they need to do. I mean, that's been the way that's been the cure all throughout the history of racing is the tires. If you can get the tires to wear out, you're going to have a better race because you're going to have guys coming and going. You know, tires wearing out, guys coming through the field, and that's what you want. And it's been difficult to do that with this new tire, but this new car. But I think they're close. They've done it for some short tracks, and that's where they need it the most because really the short tracks have suffered the most with this new car. That's where that used to be the best racing, that and the road courses, and now it's kind of flipped back to where it's the bigger tracks, and the short tracks are not what we expect. So I hope they can keep experimenting with a softer tire there and then broaden that out into some other tracks, and I think that will make for better racing everywhere.
How do you think those will work on the bigger tracks, the super speedways, the mile-and-a-half tracks? Any difference there compared to running those on short tracks?
Yeah, I mean, they are going to wear faster, but that's also where you got to be more careful. I mean, you're not going to – there's a much finer line on the big tracks to do this sort of thing than there are a short track because of the danger and the risk. You don't want to go too soft on those tracks like that, but you want the tires to wear a little bit. We see it work at Darlington and some of the other tracks where if there's tire fall off, it's going to be a better race, but you got to be careful. There's got to be a line there, and you almost have to design a different tire for each track. You know, you almost have to do that anyway, but that just complicates the issue, and it's not something you can just implement right away. That we've been talking about this for a couple of years now, and everybody says, well, why don't they just go to a softer tire? Well, it's not like there's a closet or a warehouse of softer tires sitting over there. There's a process to it. It takes a while. It takes testing and all that, but they're making progress, and the more progress they make, I think the better racing we're going to see.
All right, we'll talk about Kansas in a moment, but early in our conversation, I think you inadvertently mentioned Homestead. thinking that was Homestead had to be on your mind. It was Texas last week, but I guess the news. Right. I guess the news that they're moving the championship weekend to Homestead in 26, and then they're going to rotate it amongst several different facilities in the years to come. Your take on that?
Yeah, I think that's a great move. It was at Homestead for years, and it was just fine. I think everybody just sort of got tired of it and wanted to see something new, and we moved it to Phoenix, and it's been good there too. But I think this is absolutely the right move. If you're going to have a playoff format like this, then you need to constantly mix things up. And I do think that championship race should move around, and it should offer teams a different challenge every year. And that shakes it up a little bit, keeps them honest, so the guys that don't have a notebook on Phoenix don't have an advantage, and it's more even. It's complicated though. I mean, there's certain tracks you don't want to go to Daytona and Talladega because you don't want the big one deciding the championship, and you don't want to go to a road course where wacky things happen there. So, there's a limited number of tracks you can go to, and weather's a factor as well in November. But I do think it's a good thing. Move it around, go to Texas, Vegas, wherever else you could go, work some short tracks in there and shake it up every year. I think that's the way to go. I think that adds another level of excitement and drama to the playoffs.
Okay, racing this weekend at Kansas Speedway, and you just look at some of the numbers, hard not to put the finger on Kyle Larson as maybe the guy to beat going into this weekend's race because of his success at this particular track.
Yeah, I think right now he's always the guy to beat at the mile-and-a-half tracks. We saw him dominate earlier this year at Homestead, and he's been good on all of those tracks. He's won there at Kansas, and this is the race last year, you recall, that had the closest finish in NASCAR history with him and Chris Buescher at the end there. So I think Larson will be good. Your top teams are going to shine on these big tracks. No question about it. So it'll be him, it'll be Byron, and it'll be the Gibbs cars and the Penske cars. They'll be up there slugging it out, and we'll see if we can get another great finish. Kansas has been a good one over the years, and if it wasn't for the weather, that'd be the perfect track to have that championship race at. But I think we'll see another good one on Sunday.
Yeah. Where do you rank among your mile-and-a-half tracks? Like, give me your top three. How would you rank your favorite mile-and-a-half tracks, 1 through 3?
Well, I think if you look at the last 10 years or so, Kansas has probably produced the best racing. And then I got to put Homestead right there just below it, those two. Third one is tough. It's such a crapshoot because some of these, mile-and-a-half track, it lends itself for a race to just get spread out. I think Vegas would probably be the third one. They always produce pretty good racing, and who doesn't love going to Vegas?
If you come back with your shirt, for sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Jeff, we thank you, my friend. Have a great racing weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, Phil. Have a good one.
You too, buddy. All right, 2-2 now. Clemson has caught up with Duke. 2-2, bottom of the fourth. South Carolina 3-2 on Auburn. Bottom of the fifth. We'll be back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Overnight showers are possible tonight. A low temperature dipping to 59. Tomorrow, look for a 40% chance we get some on and off rain to go with a much cooler high temperature of 70. For Mother's Day on Sunday, a high of 72. It's a wet afternoon. Rain chance is better than 60%. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Tradition and quality. That's what you get with H&J Cattle Company, where local third-generation farmers ensure you receive the finest beef in South Carolina. Our registered Hereford and Wagyu cattle are raised with sustainable practices without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. Taste the difference with the highest quality beef guaranteed. Order now at HandJCattle.com or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle. Again, HandJCattle.com, where ethics meets quality.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Pakistan's army spokesman says India has fired missiles at 3 air bases inside the country, but most of the missiles have been intercepted. Lieutenant General Ahmad Sharif said the assets of the Pakistan Air Force are safe. He made this announcement during his televised address, saying some of the Indian missiles have also hit India's eastern Punjab. The air traffic controllers directing planes into the Newark, New Jersey airport lost their radar Friday morning for the second time in 2 weeks. The Federal Aviation Administration says the radar at the facility in Philadelphia that directs planes in and out of Newark Airport went black for 90 seconds at 3:55 a.m. Friday. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 119 points, the Nasdaq up a fraction. More at srnnews.com.
Lots of plumbing companies out there. Few are truly local. Time to discover the difference with Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, when I faced plumbing woes at the Cohen home, Josh and his dedicated team, well, they were my go-to solution. They make a commitment to exceptional service. They arrived on time, clearly detailed all the costs and procedures, and efficiently handled all my repairs without any surprises. These days, how often do we complain about a lack of customer service out there? With Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, these folks are professional. They're courteous. They're skilled at what they do, and they've earned my trust, and they've earned my recommendation to you. From urgent repairs to the tankless water heater you've always wanted, they've got you covered. Visit franklinplumbing.sc.com or call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Hey, you tell them Kev sent you from The Point. I'm pretty sure you'll want to thank me later.
Are you ready to have a boatload of fun this spring? Sail on down to your local Palmetto State Armory store and deck yourself out in our new lifestyle t-shirts, hats, and fishing shirts. Seize the day with brands like Hey Dudes, Costa, Turtle Box, Local Boy, and more. Our selection of rifles, pistols, and shotguns is sure to impress. So don't be left fishing for something to wear once the warmer weather has arrived. Check out one of our 9 retail locations or PalmettoStateArmory.com to outfit your next adventure.
Hey, honey, will you pick up some cold medicine? I'm not feeling great today.
Already on it. I stopped by True Pharmacy and got some for free.
For free?
Yes, every time we shop at True, we earn loyalty points we can use out front.
I remember now. We got $10 in loyalty points just for transferring our first prescriptions.
That's right. True Pharmacy, the pharmacy that truly cares. Come see us at our new Columbia location at 623 Beltline Boulevard or in West Columbia at Triangle Pharmacy at 1239 D Avenue. Visit TrueRxSC.com for more info.
Hey, it's me, your liver. You know, the organ that helps you recover every weekend after pizza, donuts, and all those drinks. When you have a headache, you take an aspirin. You have a stomach ache, you pop an antacid. But where's the love for your best buddy, the liver? The least that you could do to help me stay healthy is take Active Liver from New Nordic. Active Liver tablets contain high-quality, all-natural ingredients like milk thistle, globe artichoke, and turmeric extracts, which are proven to keep me healthy and you feeling your best. Active Liver provides an easy daily detox and helps protect me all year long. So let me make you an offer you can't refuse. You take care of me with Active Liver, and I keep taking care of you. Capiche?
See for yourself why Active Liver is Scandinavia's #1 liver health supplement. You can find Active Liver at CVS and online at Amazon or directly from NewNordicUSA.com. Again, find it in stores at CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
4. Straight down the middle. It went straight down the middle. Then it started to hook just a wee bit. And that's when my caddy lost sight of it. That little white pellet has never been found to this day. But it went straight down the middle.
Oh, it's a great time. It's a great time to be talking golf in South Carolina with so much great stuff going on in the golf world right around here. Wasn't but about a month ago. We had the Masters in Augusta, followed by the RBC Heritage at Harbor Town. This week, we've got the One Flight Myrtle Beach Classic taking place halfway through that. Next week is the PGA Championship in Charlotte. All of this in our area. It's more golf than we deserve, but we love it. Love it nonetheless. And we have got a full foursome for you tonight here on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps. First up on the tee, the reigning Sports Talk professional champion, George Bryan III. Second up on the tee will be the reigning South Carolina men's golf coach champion, Rob Bradley. Third up on the tee will be the third-ranked golfer in the Sports Talk Golf Hall of Fame, Matt Smith. And fourth up on the tee will be the reigning Gilbert High School, which high school? Sullivan Hooper. Gilbert High School, the all-time champion golfer from Gilbert, Sullivan Hooper. So, George, you got a full foursome for you, man.
Man, you bring it up, you forgot yourself. I'm talking.
Oh, I'm just a caddy.
The golden corn. And if we hello, welcome, and what a privilege on this Friday night. Hey, might as well. So are you telling me you could patch in to Coach out on the left coast? Is that what you're telling me?
Let's give him a shot. He's with us right now.
Let's tee it up,
guys,
Coach.
how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
And before we get to knocking this thing around, playing really fast, let us know you're 20, and are you in a position where you're pigeon for time, or you got some?
Yeah, no, we're all good out here on the West Coast. We just finished playing golf today. Just a little practice round to kind of get used to the weather and the time difference and all that. And we're gonna actually take the guys to a Mariners game tonight.
Oh, hey, you're one Gamecock shy, and I haven't been able to speak about it, but I did watch that round live, and just jumping right in. And by the way, Coach, you're sitting in with the rest of your playing partners, which you cannot see, you can only feel, and you know they have game. They're all over the country, too, not in one place, but that's what makes this segment very special. But you're one Gamecock shy. You got to tell us how you're going to close the gap or what's going to happen. He's made the cut. He's made the cut.
Yeah, he's made the cut. He's playing great. We just got off the phone with him, and, we've got plans to get him out here. It looks like he's going to land in Seattle probably about close to 11 o'clock on Sunday night, and he might be a little tired on Monday, but as of right now, he's gonna play for us on Monday morning. So, it's fun to see him doing so well.
Hey, real quick, do they at the regional level, is there substitution in play?
Yeah, there is substitution. We've got 5 guys out here now that I'm confident in, all of their ability to play and get it done. If for some reason he doesn't get out here, but there is also the option to substitute if he were to get out here late and we felt like it was a situation that we needed to sub him in, then we can do that as well. So we'll certainly keep that in mind. But we've got 5 guys out here right now that all of their games are in a good spot. But, obviously Nate's playing a really, a lot of great golf and is a big part of our team. So, it would be nice to have him for the regional. But
explain real quick, recap what you're up against, how it lays out, a little bit about the format, how the scoring works, and what your mission is.
Yeah, so there's, it's 13 or 14 teams out here, and the top 5 move on to the national championship. We're the 4th seeded team out here, so meaning 3 teams that are ranked better than us, and then we're the 4 seed. So, mathematically speaking, we're obviously supposed to make it out, but you still got to go and play good golf, in order to get that done. I mean, our goal is really to come out and try and, compete to win the tournament. But really, the most important thing is 5 teams qualify.
Hey, and you don't move into match play at this level, but at the national championship, there's match play. Comment on why this is left out, whether you like it or not. And we've already visited, but I'm always curious. Revisit that topic, please.
Yeah, 30 teams make it out there, and after 4 rounds of stroke play, they cut down to 8 teams for match play. And, I think that I'm not sure how long ago they changed the format, but it is, it is great for TV. It's been really successful. I think it's really showcased college golf a lot. We've had a lot of really good championship matches and semifinal matches, but not always. I think you could say in match play, maybe always the best team doesn't win, but it's certainly a fun format to play. And, I think it's been great. I don't know too many coaches that aren't in support of the tournament being done that way.
And then you don't do it at regionals, though. It's pure stroke play. 3 rounds.
Pure stroke play. 3 rounds of stroke play. Count 4 out of your 5 scores every day, and the top 5 teams qualify.
Thank you. And then talk about your players out there briefly, and then elaborate, close it up with Nathan and where he fits, and especially what's going on in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, we've got Frankie Harris out here, who's played. He's the best ranked player on our team. He's played a lot of great golf for us. He can pretty much win anytime he tees it up. And we've got Zach Adams, your reigning South Carolina amateur champion, who's played a lot of really good golf. Brock Blaze, who transferred from UTSA from Florida. He lives in Florida. He's a great player, just getting better and better. And then our 4 and 5 guys that are out here are Merrick Fleming, a freshman from Texas, and Ishmael Encinas, another freshman from Mexico. Both of those guys are playing solid as well. And then obviously Nate, who, if you're making the cut in tour events, obviously your game's in a really good spot. So, we're excited for him to get out here and tee it with us. But I love this, our team and the place that we're in right now. I think we're in a really good spot. I think our best golf is still in front of us, and kind of coming around at the right time.
Hey, what if Nate wakes up in the morning, Coach, and says, you know what, I'm declaring myself professional now. I'm just going to go stick on the tour, and I'll see you guys later. I mean,
I asked him earlier if he won, if he was still going to come out to regionals, and he told me he was fully committed to playing regionals at NCAA. So I don't think we have to worry about that. Because he's a pretty high character kid. So if he tells me he's going to do something, he's going to do it.
I gotta go ahead and just validate and attest. This is one of the finest young men that I've seen dress out, just in how he handles himself. I haven't known him long, but you're right. He is of high character. I love how you put that. And I watched him for the first time play 18 holes inline in this qualifier, which was all quiet. I couldn't call you up. I think I alluded to the fact that I watched him play. I just didn't tell you exactly where. And don't want to get into how secure that information was, but they played a quiet qualifier, and that's how he got in the event. But what I witnessed this day on a really hard golf course is how he beat everybody in this qualifying field, which was small. I'll hand it. It wasn't but a field of 16 to 20. Every golfer dreams of being in this kind of a qualifier, but it's a sponsor's choice. They can set up anything they want. But he won the qualifier and did not have his A game. That's a fact. I got to watch guts all day long. And with a smile on his face, he absolutely escaped numerous very difficult situations. And it was one of the most fun rounds that I've witnessed since I've been in golf. This young man didn't have it, but he got it done. I don't see that all the time. Not in this day and age. Most of these kids are overwhelmed with ball striking and under skill when it comes to play, but not Nate.
Yeah, he I can't say enough good things about him from a work ethic standpoint and just quality of a kid, and his he doesn't do anything that that I would call is really flashy on the golf course. He just keeps the ball in front of him and hits a lot of quality shots. I think I looked earlier today and he was leading the field in strokes gained approach. I mean, he is a really nice iron player.
Well, I tell you what, I know you got a lot going on. I've overwhelmed you, jumped all in. Maybe let's see, maybe Smitty, maybe Sully have got a question for you. If not, fellas, speak up. I've kind of dominated that, but I had a chance to watch Nate, who he's on one part of the world and one part of the country, and then he's got his golf team on the left side. So go ahead, y'all jump in if you got a question for him. Otherwise, we're gonna cut you free.
Let's go to Sully real quick. If he has a question for Coach, then we'll let Coach head on out. Sully, what you got for the coach?
Yeah, Coach, I'm just curious if you want to talk a little about the golf course, how it sets up, and if it suits your lineup for this week. Talk a little about the golf course out in Washington, right?
Yeah, Gold Mountain out in Washington. So we came out here. We're fortunate enough, really, to put Washington's event in the fall on our schedule. It wasn't at Gold Mountain, but while we were out here, we came up and played a practice round. So all of our guys are, familiar with the golf course. I think it's fairly wide off the tee, kind of a second shot golf course. We've got a lot of guys that hit it pretty far on our team, and it gives them a little more room off the tee, and we can kind of get it down there a little further than maybe some of the other teams, but I think which will give us an advantage. But I love the golf course for us. We played well here in the fall, and I think it sets up nice for us.
Well, good luck to you, Coach. We really appreciate you taking time. It's going to be, I tell you, I think one of the big stories for those who are paying attention to it will be the journey of Franks from Myrtle Beach and how he finishes up on Sunday and gets out to your position out there and then gets up early in the morning and gets on the golf course there. That's going to be a story by itself. So we'll be watching that, be watching you guys, and best of luck, and thank you for being with us.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much.
Have fun.
Okay, Coach Bradley, USC men heading out to the regional. Of course, the USC women are already in the NCAA Women's Championship after just blowing away the field at their regional. They just dominated with their three top players, all finishing, I think, in like the top five. So they were dynamic. George, let's welcome in our next stud to the broadcast, a broadcast full of studs tonight, and that would be Matt Smith, who's been at Myrtle Beach over at the Dunes Club for the last 2 days. He's been there so much, I think they've indoctrinated him as a member of the Dunes Club. So congratulations on that, Smitty. I can't wait to see your locker and to come out and play on your dime.
Yep, it's great. They've made me feel right at home. Unfortunately, now I've left the course because they canceled the shag contest. They just were concerned about the rain, so the shag contest called off for this year. But I'll be back next year trying to defend my title.
There you go. I have no doubt. Another great day of golf there at the Dunes Club. Let me bring up the leaderboard here. Mackenzie Hughes and Cristobal Del Solar. They are your co-leaders at 10 under. Hughes was the leader yesterday after 63, a 69 today. So they are at 10 under. Then you've got Danny Walker, Harry Higgs, Nick Watney, Will Chandler, Davis Shore. They're all tied for third at 9 under par. And then we got locally, we got Carson Young at 6. We mentioned Nathan Franks at 6. Trace Crow at 5 under. George Jackson Bird at -3. Jay Bird at -1. His dad misses the cut. The youngster makes the cut. Bill Haas makes the cut at 3 under. Kevin Kisner misses at 1. And Matt Neesmith misses at -1. We'll let George talk about the birds in a moment. But what did you take away from the day of golf that you saw today, Smitty?
Well, I'm still impressed, as I was yesterday, with Nathan Franks and Jackson Bird, and this is something George can absolutely talk about. And I mentioned in our conversation earlier, Jackson Bird in the top 5 in driving distance. And I'm sure George won't be surprised by that, but I certainly was. I didn't know his reputation coming in. Better than 326 yards off the tee average this week. So that's one of the things that stood out. Also, Nathan Franks, he had a little bit of trouble on the par 5s, +1 on the par 5s, still makes the cut today. I think that's just so impressive to show that kind of character. And George was just talking about it in the last segment about how all the players, they don't always have everything in their bag mentally. Do they have the makeup? Because that's what separates these guys here when you're playing for cash. And I was very impressed with Jackson Bird and Nathan Franks, 2 very young players who were not, the moment was not too big for them. They were both able to go out there, make the cut, and both of them actually ran into a little adversity and they overcame.
Hey, well, what's really special now is that not only did they make the cut, but they are technically in contention and not too far out. All you got to do is look at and check how the how leaderboards get scrambled around from day 1 to day 4, and you realize if you follow it long enough, these young fellas are in the mix. And Jackson Bird, I've watched really special now. I watched Jonathan Bird grow up. In fact, Corn, we go back to the early 90s talking about Jonathan in junior golf. So now we're talking that's I tell you what, I would love to be there just to take pictures of Jonathan watching Jackson, because I promise you there won't be anybody's heart rate that will be where his daddy's is tomorrow, and he will be welled up with excitement, emotion, and quite frankly, I don't mind telling you, he has no problem missing the cut to watch his kid play.
Absolutely.
Now, Jonathan, he's so competitive. He won't talk about it. Would never even corner him on a question publicly, but we could laugh about it in the back room. I'll tell you, he's just thrilled to watch his boy tomorrow and Sunday. You never can tell. You never can tell. Jackson Bird is good enough. He can win this event. I promise you.
Really?
He's that good.
Where does he get his
is that?
Where does he get his length?
Well, that's interesting. He's not large in stature, but he's been dedicated to the game and had access and privilege to the best available information. He's right there on Sea Island, which is Planet Earth's golf academy for learning, loaded with great players, great information, and if you mix in passion and just absolute DNA for golf, he's got DNA to play, Corn. And when you got DNA to play, it just is that way. And lightning fast speed, he is fun. I hadn't seen him play in the last year. I've seen him hit some balls, but that's it. Read about him. We've talked a little bit about him, and he could win this event. There's no question. Kind of golf course that sets up beautifully for him too.
Smitty, before we let you go, Mackenzie Hughes set the early pace. He's still there with Cristobal Del Solar at 10 under par, and then we got a bunch there at 9 under par. Have you had a chance to watch the leaders? Did you get a chance to follow them much at all? If so, what did you notice from those guys?
I did, and I will say I think you have to make Mackenzie Hughes the favorite here. And one of the things we talked about in our earlier conversation, this will really tee up George. It just happens this way in golf sometimes. The conditions really worked out for Mackenzie Hughes. Look, they're good scoring conditions. Every player has come to the mic and said that anyway. But yesterday, the greens were playing a little fast, and I know Bill Haas said, if we get a little bit of rain overnight and then the humidity and the wind picks up, it's going to make for really good scoring for somebody. And I think Mackenzie Hughes going off early on Thursday and then a little bit later on Friday. I think he got the best of those conditions. Of course, that will all even out over the weekend. And then another thing I'll see George up with, he talked about DNA. How about Jay Haas on the bag for Bill this week? And I saw Bill, he was 2 strokes clear of the cut line coming into 18, gets loose off the tee, goes into the rough on the right, and who does he have there in his ear but the great Jay Haas, who's been his coach his entire life. Anybody would take advice from Jay Haas. He talks him through it. Bill ends up bogeying the hole, but still making the cut for the weekend. So didn't finish the way that he wanted. He was a little bit frustrated coming off the course, but you just know that soothing voice of Jay Haas, who himself was a great player, deep, very deep into his career. He knows how to strategize and get around a golf course. I thought it was a great scene. It's the first time, maybe George knows, maybe George has seen a little bit more than me, but it's the first time I've ever seen Jay Haas in short pants. That was this week.
Hey, he is, I would call him the grand ambassador for South Carolina golf. No question. You mentioned high character, or Coach Bradley did. This is a man of character, and he is a family man. I'm so sad I'm not there just to go watch him caddy. That would be fun in and of itself. Way to go, take care of yourself, Jay Huff. I think he's pushing 69-ish, maybe 70, and he's toting. That's good, and he's coaching. That's great.
George, he is 71, and he looks terrific. He looks like he could be out there swinging with the rest of them. So he looks terrific. I had a great time there, and I'll leave you guys with one more note that's very special. I certainly hope this event is here for the long term. The quiet paddles that they hold up while the players are teeing off or putting, here at the Myrtle Beach Classic, they don't say quiet, they say hush y'all. So that's why we need this tournament to stick around. It's got hammocks, it's got the beach, and it's got hush y'all. It's all the things that we needed to bring to South Carolina golf. I'm glad it's here.
That's awesome.
Hey,
Thank you, Smitty.
I appreciate you being here, Smitty. And that is not there this year, but it was my number one last year. And I'm just sad I'm not there to watch this weekend. It sounds like family. I know if he's still on, were the crowds big, Smitty, or have you gone?
Yeah, the crowds were good, and it was absolutely getting great reviews. And another thing, and this is something that I think we should all take a lot of pride in. Everybody, all the guys that cover and travel around to all of the big time tournaments, and this certainly isn't one, even though we're proud of it, they have said, this is the way you should be treated. Everyone has raved about the way the volunteers have handled their business. Everybody that is trying to help everybody get where they need to be in terms of marketing and then see the players where they want, get them directed to the leaderboards or the grandstands where they want, or maybe after the rounds to get on over and get a beer and a hammock and a great view. It's a tremendous setting, and they're doing it right, George. So you can take solace in that. I know this is not the biggest tournament, but I tell you what, it really rivals the way all the other big tournaments treat people, and I was very proud of that, because all the great players, you got guys who play all the time in the Middle East or play on the European Tour or play on even some of the bigger events in the PGA. They have all said this is the way we like to be treated. You guys are doing it right.
Hey, George, and thank you, Smitty. We got about 30 seconds, so we're going to say goodbye to Sully. Thank you, Sully. And, George, we'll let you do your thing.
Hey, Dennis Nichols and his staff over there at the Dunes Club, they are wonderful folks, and it is a privilege to have all the information updated. A lot of fun. Hey, don't forget about golf on TV, and enjoy the weekend. Until next time, team high, but shoot 'em low.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate that. Clemson 6-2 over Duke. Auburn leading South Carolina 6-3. Both games are in the sixth. Thank you. Back at the studios, Plummer and the Body. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
So again, a 1-2 pitch to Winslow. Here it is.